All right, welcome to FAWKES News. We're back from Christmas holiday, going into the new year. I know I said I might take a week off, but I couldn't. I couldn't stay off the microphone. And I wanted to let you guys know of some changes coming up for the new year. Some of you guys are traveling on the road. Listen, being the fact that this is mainly for our audio listeners and we have to go based on audio numbers, what seems to do the best for Fox News is literally the news. World news and political news and society and culture news just isn't as fun or as popular as we wanted it to be. But no fear, because Beth and Greg are here. Beth and Greg are still with us. They're out of Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and they do a great job at society and culture news. So if you want all of the latest society and culture, fun, flirty news, head over to The Bar is Open with Beth and Greg. But here, John will typically be joining me, I think, for a lot of news on Monday nights, as well as still maintaining the sports show that we're going to do here on Thursday. But we got a lot coming for FAWKES News. And for all of you first timers here on the YouTubes and everything, we are a arm or a branch of Failure to Stop. That's where this all started. So head over, hit the subscribe button to Failure to Stop and for Fox News. Hit that little ring-a-ding-ding button to get the notifications. We got a big show for you tonight. We got another pandemic to plan for. Couldn't you believe it? Could the timing be any more impeccable? I don't know. You tell me. We're going to go over it. And I think, I don't know. Are we going to do this again, guys? Are we going to do it again? Let's talk about it. Then we've got these bizarre plane crashes, one in South Korea and the other one in Kazakhstan. And then let's not forget that we had some F-18s shot down by our own people. Now, listen. I really want to dive into this when we get there, but I'm just going to give a spoiler alert. I have a lot to say about this F-18 attack because the hypocrisy here is hilarious on the social media webs. A lot of it's funny that we live in a time, in a place, and thank God for independent media. Because if not for independent media, you wouldn't have anybody saying the things like I say or the things that Theo Vaughn says about Israel. Isn't it funny in a time where if you question any of the narrative of Ukraine or Israel, all of a sudden you're labeled as some kind of either a Russian sympathizer or a Jew hater or something like that. However, I think it is absolutely hilarious that everybody's making fun of Russia for shooting down its own aircraft, but then we do the same thing, and then all of a sudden it's like questions arise. We get all serious about it. Like, get off your high horse there. Let's be objective. You never count on objectivity from mainstream media, but thank God for independent journalism. And I love Theo Vaughn's take on the TikTok ban. So I want to talk about the TikTok ban as well. And that's not so much as a plane crash as it is a plane crash. It's like watching a plane crash. Let's see what happens with TikTok. So I want to talk about that tonight as well. So on the docket for tonight, we got a new pandemic, a couple of plane crashes, and then this TikTok ban that I want to get to. Tonight's show brought to you by ghostbed.com/Wolfpack. We're coming out of the holiday season, getting ready for Valentine's Day. Make sure you get your loved one something special for Valentine's Day, something that he or she will remember you by forever. And that's the sweet love that you will make on a ghost bed, or the extremely good night's rest you'll get on a ghost bed. Either way, ghost beds are what keeps the world moving. I just got back from Savannah, Georgia today. Just hit up the Black Rifle coffee shop and the 9-Line coffee shop in Savannah. That's why I've got this new Whoopee jacket on. It's a little Christmas gift to myself. A couple other Christmas gifts I'll show you today. But anyway, I did not travel without the ghost bed pillow. That is the most important thing in my life. That's my ghost bed pillow. My ghost bed mattress is a number 2. And you say, well, why? Why, Eric? Why is the ghost bed your number 2? You spent thousands of dollars on a mattress. Why wouldn't that be your number 1? Well, I'll tell you this, because I never sleep at home. My wife and I home today, gone tomorrow, matter of fact. Won't be back for a couple of days. And then on the 8th, we've got another video shoot. And then I'll be in Vegas on the I'll be in Michigan on the 16th and Vegas on the 20th. Anyway, it's a blur. I'm never home. And so the closest thing I have to home is my ghost bed pillow. And therefore, at least I have a little piece of home everywhere I go, even though I'm hardly ever home. And so even my kids are in on this. Like they are like, save room for the ghost bed pillows. So our car could be shoved to the max. Our minivan could be shoved to the max, and they still have the ghost bed pillows, which are built to last forever. These ghost bed pillows, the reason why you're going to spend $80 on a ghost bed pillow or whatever pillow you buy from Ghost Bed, still going to get 40% off no matter what that cost is. If you use the promo code Wolfpack, these pillows will last you forever. You don't even have to really take care of them. They kind of take care of themselves. They're the thickest, toughest pillows imaginable. I've done hurricane rescue with them. I've traveled near and far, stayed in Airbnbs, professional skateboard contests, you name it. My pillow's gone with me and it survived all of it. All right, let's get into today's show. That's enough of that. Also, we got factormeals.com/Wolfpack50 meal planning to the next level. Start your new year right with a good meal plan. Let Factor Meals do that for you. Those are chef prepared, fresh, never frozen meals delivered right to your door. You can pick out from a variety of menu items like calorie conscious or protein heavy. You want to go vegan? You want to go vegetarian? Go for it. You want to do carnivore? Let's go. Get you some protein shakes. Get you all sorts of stuff. You can do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, breakfast and dinner, lunch and breakfast, lunch and dinner. It doesn't matter. They'll plan it around your needs. You want to do it 3 days a week, 2 days a week, 5 days a week? Head over to factormeals.com/Wolfpack50. Start your meal plan today. They've got a meal plan just for you. I'm going to get lean and mean, dude. I'm at 203 right now. I'm about to be 195. That's my goal, 195. By February, I want to be ripped and shredded, and I got some BJJ tournaments I want to go to, but I got to get ready for this, guys. We've got the Pig Latin Seriously Funny True Story written by myself and Nick Palmachado. It is coming out this year in 2025, in August of 2025, but pre-sale's already up on Amazon. If you want to read the best book for an airplane, you've got to get Pig Latin, a seriously funny, true story. This has been a big project with the Failure to Stop crew and myself. John Bates has been instrumental in helping me with this. And so a lot of his artwork will go behind in the promotion of this book here. And anyway, get ready for it. The advanced reader edition's already out to a couple of reviewers, and the reviews coming in are amazing. You can read those on Amazon, and I appreciate everybody that's been a part of that. So thank you guys so much. Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story. Definitely something you're going to be reading if your plane's going to go down. Bucket. Might as well go down with a laugh. My favorite quote is from Herman Melville. He said, "I know not all that may be coming, but be it what it will, I'll go to it smiling." Also for Christmas, I got a Richie Jackson deck from the Boonies HQ. My Richie Jackson's had my kids. He's an amazing skater. He's got a new skate part out. Go check it out. Type in Richie Jackson, the Boonies HQ. Find his skate part. Be a part of it. One of the most creative skate parts of all time. He's also got one of the biggest thrasher parts of all time. My kids have skated with him a couple of times. He's over at the Tim Pool podcast compound. We've been up there twice to skate with him, but really happy to get this deck in. And then also cannot forget, this is coming from my children. They said, "This is for your studio, Dad. This is for your studio, Dad. We got this for you, Dad." Dick Pics in Nature, a 2025 12-month calendar about all of the natural dick formations that you can find in nature. So really appreciative. That's going to go on the wall somewhere here. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas holiday. I know I did, and we've got New Year's coming up. Axe Crocker 88 in live chats gives me the old laughy. John from Com Center says, "That shit is hilarious. As you know, YouTube set it up so that had Trump lost, there would be reminders of it everywhere. Backfired YouTube." Okay. Wait, I missed the context there. I'll get to the chats a little bit later. Let's go ahead and speed this up. Let's go ahead and speed tonight up. Jump into some news. We got a pandemic coming. Listen, have you guys heard this yet? Have you guys heard about the whole bird flu? So right now, listen, I'm getting into a lot of homesteading, a lot of homeopathic, kind of apothecary stuff. You've seen the books going around, the internet. My wife has been into this for, I don't know, about 10 years. We don't go to doctors very often unless it's absolutely a dire emergency. Basically, if something's broken, we need a surgeon to fix it. Other than that, my wife has always been, listen, we do home births, homeschool. We drink raw, unpasteurized, illegal milk. We get eggs right from the farm. But we go literally to the farm to get the eggs and to get milk. I'm not going to tell you which because it's illegal. Also, the home birth thing is illegal in the state. And go, fact check, no, it's not. Okay, listen, you can do it, but you can't have anybody help you because if you have somebody to help you, it is a felony. It's called felony impersonating a healthcare professional. So if you have a midwife to come and help you give the birth, they're impersonating healthcare. Now, Roy Cooper has moved that up as of January 2024 to be a felony. Used to be a misdemeanor, now it's a felony. So anyway, listen, can't drink raw milk. You got the FBI raiding dairy farms and breaking all their shit because people are trying to drink raw and pasteurized. By the way, the government likes to hide from you that unpasteurized milk is one of the besides breast milk, one of the greatest sources of natural vitamins and antibiotics that you can possibly find. It's got all of the enzymes for gut health. It's got, matter of fact, my wife, who's lactose intolerant, been lactose intolerant almost her entire life, really extremely sick in elementary school. They went on they tried everything to figure out why she was sick. Finally, her parents cut out anything lactose, ended up healing her. She ended up being great. Well, later on in life, we started drinking raw and pasteurized milk. She just wanted to know what it was like. She wanted to know what it was like, Eric, to drink raw and pasteurized milk. How is it? Does it taste good? Is it crazy? She drank it, and guess what happened? Nothing happened to her. She was like, this is bizarre. If I take a bite of ice cream, she's got the squirts. Sorry to be gross, sorry to be inappropriate and absurd. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to my wife, but that's what happened. She got the loose poops, the loose poos, as we call them here, with 5 kids, a little loose poos. So then she's like, well, let me do like a full sip of this milk the next night and see what happens. Guess what happened? Wouldn't you know it? Nothing happened. Then we kind of escalated it to a glass of milk. Now my wife drinks milk all day long. We go through so many gallons of raw unpasteurized milk. And I'm not telling you if you're allergic to milk or to dairy to go out and hurt yourself or harm yourself, but I don't know, maybe if you're adventurous, you explore it or at least Google it, right? It's worth a Google it. However, there's been a war in the last 10 years, 15 years. A lot of people have talked about it. Jordan Peterson's mentioned it. By the way, Jordan Peterson, almost 20 years ago in 2010, 15 years ago, whatever, was talking about that pedophilia was going to be normalized. Guess what? He was right. He said by 2020, they are going to try to, that is the next big thing. They are going to try to normalize pedophilia. They're going to do it on the same grounds that they did for homosexuality. They're going to write the laws and the legislation based on homosexuality's legislation because it worked for them. Maybe it'll work for the pedos. Now, I'm not saying that homosexuals are pedophiles by any means. What I'm saying is they use the same verbiage for the pedophiles as they did for the homosexuals to get legislation in place to make it legal or to try to make it legal. You think that's bizarre? That's bonkers. No, that could never happen. Well, guess what? It is happening. And in 2025, we have terms like MAPS and all these other things. So anyway, Jordan Peterson seems to be ahead of his time. He's a learned guy. And he's been talking about the war on farms, the war on farmers, and it's been going on. China's buying up all of our farms. That's strange. Why would China buy up all of our farms? Is it coincidence that we had a Chinese-based COVID influenza? Now we have a Chinese-based bird flu that's going around the United States. We're going to talk about this here in just a second. Because yes, we do. That's the next big thing is bird flu. Where did that come from? I don't know. Louisiana? No. Maybe it came from Africa. Wrong again. It came from China. 1996-ish time frame. So we've got yet another Chinese thing. But anyway, a lot of these drones that are flying over the military installations also happen to be Chinese. But anyway, the Chinese are buying up all the farms. And there's been a war on poultry, on chicken. Okay, so I don't want to be redundant here. There's been a war on poultry, right? There's been a war on cows and all sorts of farmers. The rich elites, there's been talk about them trying to go to like being grasshoppers. We've done a whole episode on these like weird byproducts, these food bug byproducts, anything to get you to stop eating meat, right? We know the carnivore diets are a great thing, but a lot of people speak out against it. They tell you that red meat's bad. They tell you that chicken is bad and it's dangerous. Well, here's what we got going on right now. And I don't have a producer in studio tonight because I gave everybody the week off. So I'm just going to read this, but if you want to read along, you can go to the independent.co.uk and it's cows-bird flu. It's from the Independent. More than 70% of California's dairy cow herds are now infected with bird flu. Here's what you need to know. This is as of today, Monday, the 30th. A dozen or more dairy herds in California have been stricken with bird flu. As the virus continues to infect animals and humans around the U.S., nearly 700 herds in the state, or 71% of all herds, have caught H5N1 since late August, forcing Governor Gavin Newsom to declare a new state of emergency, folks. Wow, look at the time. Check the time, mates. Look at it. Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy that right when we get into the Donald Trump coming back in, we got like 16 days, all of a sudden we've got China trying to overtake Taiwan. We've got Russians shooting down civilian aircrafts. We got our own aircraft shoot down. We've got World War III pending on the move. We got these crazy, isn't it just so crazy that it all just waits right until that election season? I think that's really funny, or at least when it's a conservative election season. More importantly, not conservative, but a Donald Trump election season, because I think we've talked about it enough that Donald Trump's neither the right nor the left. I think he's just the anti-establishment, the anti-government. He's not in the club, which has shown everybody that there really is a club. That makes things really interesting. While California, the nation's top milk producing state, has the most infections in dairy herds, more infections were reported in Michigan, and the number of confirmed human cases has inched closer to 70. Oh no. According to health officials last week, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention said that the virus had likely mutated in a Louisiana patient who had contracted the country's first severe case of the illness. Mutations could allow the virus to better bind to nerve endings in the respiratory tract to initiate infection. Although scientists say this is not yet a cause for alarm, generally cases have been mild in humans. This is the more important part. While experts worry H5N1 will eventually mutate into a lethal strain capable of human-to-human transmission, authorities assert that the current risk to population health remains low. Human-to-human transmission has not yet been reported. Well, that's good, right? So that's good. That's nice to hear. But they're already setting it up. So if you go, I'll put this up here. This is a quick Google search for you real fast. I'm trying to keep tonight quick and easy for you guys. Here's a quick Google search. If you type in the CDC, pandemics for 2025, bird flu, Q&A, what you need to know by NPR, the New York's magazines, how worried should you be about the latest bird flu? As of 3 NBC, experts warn against raw pet food after cat dies of bird flu. Fox News, bird flu, patient had virus mutation, sparking concerns as of 4 hours ago. CDC scientists respond to Dr. Berg's rising alarm over handling of bird flu 7 hours ago. Bird flu outbreak expands more Michigan poultry 35 minutes ago. So here we go. We're just going bird flu crazy, even though already they're telling you, hey, it's not, it's not the end of the world. This isn't like some kind of a crazy pandemic that's going to wipe out the human earth. But if you look at all the super hyperbolic headlines from mainstream media, this looks like the end. Now, I also Googled pandemics, what to look out for pandemics for 2025. So you can just Google this yourself. Type in pandemic 2025. And what you're going to see is the mirror says pandemic 2025, 11 diseases docs most worried about, including disease X and COVID. Now, if you read that article, the first thing it talks about is bird flu. That's the big concern. Then we go to the conversation. Which infectious disease is likely to be the biggest emerging problem in 2025? So COVID emerged suddenly, spread rapidly, and killed millions of people around the world. Since then, I think it's fair to say that the most people have been nervous about the emergence of the next big infectious disease, be that a virus, bacterium, fungus, or parasite. So if you scroll down, there's one influenza virus is causing great concern right now and is teetering on the edge of being a serious problem in 2025. This is an influenza subtype H5N1, sometimes referred to as, you guessed it, folks, bird flu. So we're going to be bird flu crazy going into the opening of the Trump administration. Also in the new year, one thing that we've got to keep our eye on is the whole port strikes. Let's not forget, we got pandemics and port strikes. I say that the world and the shit hits the fan almost in days, like in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I think, do we wake up, live chats? Do we wake up on New Year's Day and the world is completely changed? It's completely different than what we believe, or do you think not? Now listen, Oh, there, that sounds hyperbolic. Of course not. Of course it's not going to be anything different. But do you remember the 2020s? When almost overnight, I remember it like it was day, Joe Biden took office, and the very next Monday, I got my first ever phone call from China informing me that they had bottles for sale, glass bottles, because I owned a distillery at the time, and that they could get me the best deal on bottles of all time. All I had to do was sign up now, and they would ship now, and all these, and it was straight from China. The guy barely spoke English. I said, man, that is so bizarre. That's crazy. We didn't really think that much of it, but it was strange. I hadn't had a call from China ever. A couple of emails here and there. I hung up the phone with the Chinese guy, and wouldn't you have it, by 3:00 in the afternoon, I got a call from our American distributor that said, hey, just to give you a heads up, starting February 1, all of our prices across the board are going up on average 7%. Corks will be up 5%. Labels will be up 10%. On average, everything from my American producer was going up 7%. So almost overnight that Joe Biden took office, that February, everything went up. A month later, March, we then have COVID and our whole lives changed. So it was like, not to say overnight, not to say you go to sleep, you wake up and everything changes, but everything could change. By the way, I was off on that timeline. I mix those up. One was when Trump was when the elections were coming, that final year going into election season is when we had the COVID ramp up. But that's also when we had those prices go up going into the year of Joe Biden. And almost, so for me, it was overnight. But you get what I'm saying here, right? You guys understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like not overnight, not to be hyperbolic, but do you guys think with the new Trump administration, do we go back to the old ways where it's just let's burn it all down? I think that's coming. And here's why I think that's coming. How many plane crashes do we experience worldwide on a yearly basis? Or how many do we actually hear about? It's not all that many. But now we have two rather suspicious. Listen, we'll talk about it. I don't know how suspicious these things really are. 2 out of the 3, I will say, are suspicious. The third one, maybe not. But here we go, coming right into the first of the new year. Of course, now we're ending out 2024, but we're on that weird kind of stalled out period between Christmas and New Year's that we're all kind of in 2025, but we're really kind of not. But here we go. You've got a series of plane crashes that have made national news. Now, these things are terrifying, but the reason behind the plane crashes is even more terrifying. Because here we have 2 of these aircraft were shot down by military forces. 2 of them were shot down. The 2 that were shot down by military forces were both shot down accidentally. One being an American airline, happened to be an F-18 fighter jet with 2 occupants, but it was accidentally shot out of the air by one of our own destroyers protecting the aircraft carrier from which launched the jet. The other airline that I'm referring to is an airline on its way to Kazakhstan, and it was shot down out of the air by the Russians. Now, so here, let me play this one for you because I don't have a producer to chat with tonight, and I've got to take a sip of something because my mouth is getting dry. So I'm going to play this. You let me know what you think.
This means the plane was hit between 10:30 to 10:53 a.m. Kazakh time by the Russian anti-air defense system. The Panzer Air Defense System's radar scans the surrounding airspace, continuously detecting and identifying potential threats, such as this Embraer E-jet. Once a target is identified, the system initiates tracking using its integrated radar and optical sensors. These components work together to calculate the target's trajectory, speed, and other critical engagement parameters necessary for interception. Based on the target's range, speed, and altitude, the Panzer system determines the most effective response, whether to launch a missile or engage with its high-speed autocannons. In this scenario, the plane is flying at a significantly higher altitude, rendering the cannons ineffective. Consequently, the system opts to deploy a missile as the optimal weapon for engagement. The missile is launched vertically from its sealed canister. It uses its advanced onboard guidance system to navigate with precision towards the designated target. As the missile approaches, its onboard sensors continue to track the civilian aircraft, which in this case is tragically identified as an Azerbaijani civilian aircraft. The missile carries a 25-kilogram high-explosive warhead.
I think this is interesting because I didn't know this.
The target, the warhead detonates, releasing an intense explosion. The explosion occurs near the side of the.
So here, this was my question, right? When I first heard of this, I was like, if a missile hit the aircraft, how did we not see, like, how is the aircraft still like even as like the missile doesn't actually hit the aircraft? The missile detonates before and sends out shrapnel all over the place. Huh, I didn't know that. I also thought, like, who's got machine guns that are shooting down an aircraft that's flying at 30 fucking thousand feet? This answered all my questions, which is why I wanted to show it to you guys.
Aircraft, causing catastrophic damage to its tail section. The resulting shrapnel penetrates the fuselage, inflicting severe internal structural damage. This devastating impact destabilizes the aircraft, leading to an uncontrollable descent. The severely damaged plane crashes near Acquittal Airport, resulting in a tragic loss of life and a devastating outcome for all.
All right, so listen, I'm not, I think there was an interesting piece here because, yeah, Will Cray's got it. It's an airburst, so it's pretty crazy. Now here's the actual footage of that plane crash. Look, a warning, right? This is traumatic, and if you fly all night, maybe you don't want to say, but listen, it's still the chances of you getting blown out of the sky are super rare. Keep flying in the friendly skies, and when you do, make sure you get a copy of Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story. So at least if you die smiling.
It's hard to dispute the damage. These are the latest pictures showing holes in the fuselage of flight J28243, seemingly sustained before it crashed on Christmas Day, killing 38 of those on board. Azerbaijan Airlines now pointing to external and technical interference in its preliminary findings. It comes as reports suggest Russian air defense systems downed the flight, which had been flying from Azerbaijan's capital, heading into an area where Moscow had been defending against Ukrainian drones. This phone footage shot by someone on the ground. From the sharp angle the plane was flying at, it was instantly clear something was up. While we won't show you the point of impact, it is remarkable that anyone walked from the wreckage.
Oh, I'll show you the wreck. Nope, that's the wrong wreck. All right. Sorry, I have one plane crash for you because I have to show a plane crash if I can. So here we go. We got this Russian. Now, the Russians, they claim that it was super foggy. They were fighting against Cessna-sized drones. I know when we talk about drone warfare, a lot of you guys are thinking like little mini drones, which, yes, those exist and are terrifying. What's even more terrifying is that they have these gas-powered, long-range Cessna-sized drones that are flying around, flying into buildings. Listen, the next style of warfare is, and that's what's crazy about warfare. We thought the addition of firearms in the Civil War or in the Revolutionary War were just so catastrophic. And you've got these guys that don't know how to fight gun to gun. And so everybody's online and just getting mowed down. And we look back and we're like, why would everybody just get online and fight like this and just get mowed down by each other? That makes no sense. And then the Civil War got even worse. And then we got World War I with the invention of the machine gun where you no longer could march. So they just took the marching formations and turned them into trench warfare. And then we look at that and that's crazy. Then they invented tanks and how terrifying that must have been. Have like a tank rolling over your head and just being like, what the fuck is this? And you're shooting at it and all the bullets are just bang, bang, bang. And they're just bouncing off of the thing and it's just rolling over you. And you just think these guys are like, what kind of sci-fi 21st century crazy shit's going on here? And then you fast forward to airplanes, and now you got airplanes diving down over you, paratroopers raining on you. Think about the war down there. It was like, what the fuck is going on? Then you get the invention, then you got all the jungle warfare of Vietnam, and you got napalm, and they're like, what the fuck is this napalm? How do you survive some napalm? Now you got these whistling jets coming through, dropping napalm, burning everything, scorched earth, everything. And then now we have drones. Now we have these buzzing around crazy ass drones that will literally drive up your beehole and explode on impact. It's absolutely ridiculous. So Russia doing the best that they know how to do, the best that anybody's going to know how to do. By the way, China, who's massing on Taiwan currently, and what we like to call a war game. American propaganda media likes to say that they're surrounding Taiwan and doing war game type scenarios. Come on. If you think that this is a war game, you're batshit crazy. There's no way it's a war game. They just don't want to tell you that China is surrounding Taiwan. We'll get into it. Let me finish my drone thing. I don't have a producer to keep me on track tonight. I apologize. So now you've got these Cessna-sized drones that Russia, just like everybody else, is trying to figure out this problem. Flying around in the fog, And so you're launching anti-drone shit up into the air, and things like this are happening. It's so confusing, and you laugh. You're like, no, Eric, no, Putin. Putin is a disgusting, evil scumbag that wants to shoot down innocent Kazakhstani, Uzbekistani. It's not. It's one of those. You know what I'm talking about. He wants to shoot down a rando plane full of 80-something passengers because Putin is the devil. Well, why does our own aircraft destroyer, our own Navy destroyers shooting down aircraft of our own? See, we're doing the same thing. So I don't know that you can blame Putin for being a dirtbag in this. And I don't think that we can automatically assume. Now, is there a possibility that they said, fuck the world, let's shoot down this civilian aircraft? Yeah, it's a possible, but it's not probable. Just like it's not probable that our own destroyer shot down our F-18 on purpose. The thing is that these drones has got everybody so confused every which way. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing right now. China's about to get in the mix. Do you know why we've got drones in a search formation? And I forgot to pull this up for you. If you look it up right now, you can probably Google it on your phone. If you don't believe me, I encourage you to always Google it. But if you Google mysterious drone formations over the sea, what did I tell you guys 3 weeks ago about the drones and what the Coast Guard was doing with the drones? I told you that they're rolling out new drone technology in the Coast Guard that will no longer keep the Coast Guard in a search pattern or a search responsibility. Drones will now be in charge of scanning the seas, and the Coast Guard will simply be responding to what the drone sees. So, mysterious boat, speedboat flying around the ocean, instead of trying to find that via patrol and sonar and whatever, and helicopters, mainly helicopters, trying to find these drug-running boats, these illegal alien boats. Now what they have is they have these drones that can literally find a wine cork in the ocean. These drones spot these things, they track these things, and now the helicopters are going to respond directly to it. And they're rolling out this new technology very, very soon, and they're doing it because there is a huge threat going into 2026. We're hosting a lot of big things. They're afraid of nukes getting in. They're afraid of suitcase nukes. There's a lot of stuff that we're stepping up our readiness. And hey, listen, frankly, I'm happy for it. But I told you guys about this drone stuff 3 weeks ago. So everybody else is looking at the skies like a dipshit or a dumbass. You guys already know. That's why you Fockers, Fawkers, not to be rude or crass, but you Fockers are already in the know. Independent journalism is way more reliable than mainstream, which is why you should hit that subscribe button if you're just joining in for your very first time. Hit it up, boys. Hit the notification bell and share this with a friend going into. I want Fox News to be the leading news that you go to and all your friends go to in 2025. So everybody is dealing with drones. That's not a secret. So I don't think that it was nefarious activity by Russia. I think it's very probable that they got confused of what they shot down, but that should be terrifying. Now, here we go. Something else is we've got this aircraft in South Korea that just went down. Let me play this for you. Two survivors. Wow. Now, I want to let this play out. I want you to listen very closely because I talk about this on Failure to Stop. I also talk about it in my book, Pig Latin. The video man hasn't done anything except videoed. And if you listen really closely, you can see how out of breath he is. You hear that. The only reason I bring it up is because anytime you watch a police-related video where adrenaline goes up and a lot of people say, man, the cop didn't even do anything. Why is he so out of breath? You don't have to do anything for you to be out of breath. When that adrenaline spikes, when everything goes up, you tend to hold your breath. You get out of breath. Like if you ever done jiu-jitsu or boxing, remember those first rounds that you ever did, you were completely gassed, completely smoked. You lasted like 30 seconds. Well, as you get used to it, now you can go 12, 13 rounds and survive. That's how boxers do it. But none of those boxers just got in the ring or were able to go 13 rounds. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I just thought that was a quick side note of something cool to look out for. So the South Korea thing, this was caused by birds, not bird flu. But I'm sure they'll blame it. If this was 10 months from now, when I think the next pandemic will be in full swing, 10 months from now, Tanstradamus' prediction just came to me. Let's write that down. Somebody in the chats write that down, that on December 30th, Tanstradamus' prediction was some kind of pandemic outbreak in 10 months. Where's that at in 10 months? September-ish time frame. Let's go there. September-ish time frame. New pandemic. Anyway, they would have blamed this on that pandemic. They said, oh, bird flu killed, 151 people on a South Korean plane crash. All right, let me read this from ABC News. Survivor of South Korea plane crash is awake and speaking hospital. So 179 people were killed and 2 survived. Now, listen, if you're one of the 2 survivors, where do you go from here? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this like some kind of a religious awakening? I mean, what do? You're one of 2 survivors and you're talking in that plane crash? I mean, literally, you talk about winning the lottery. Anyway, a 33-year-old flight attendant, one of just 2 survivors of the Jeju airplane crash in South Korea that killed 179 people, is awake and talking to medical staff, according to a hospital official. The survivor, who was only identified by his surname Lee, stereotype, told doctors he had already been rescued when he regained consciousness following Sunday's fiery crash at the Muan International Airport. Ju Wong, director of the Ewha Women's University of Seoul Hospital, said during a news conference on Monday, Lee and another flight attendant on Jeju Air Flight 7C2216 was identified by her surname Koo, were the only ones aboard the aircraft to live through what authorities said was South Korea's deadliest plane crash in decades, one of the worst in aviation history. The 25-year-old Koo is reportedly in stable condition. Let me skip down to what actually happened. So what they believe happened here is the crash unfolded just before 9 a.m. local time on Sunday at the Muan International Airport. By the way, they believe these people are coming back from holiday in Thailand. Airport after the air traffic control tower gave the flight crew permission to land on a south to north runway, according to an official timeline by the Korean Ministry of Land Infrastructure and Transport. 3 minutes later, the flight control tower issued a warning of possible bird strike. The transport ministry said about 2 minutes after that warning, a pilot sent a distress signal saying, "Mayday, mayday, mayday, bird strike, going around," the ministry said. The plane ascended and made a 180-degree turn before descending from north side, crash landing and slamming into a wall at 9 o'clock in the morning. The ministry said the aircraft is a Boeing 737-800, skidded along the runway, crashed into a wall and burst into flames. That's what we just saw. Now, listen, the official cause of the crash is under investigation. I think it's kind of obvious at this point that it's a bird strike. I think one of the passengers texted. This is going around mainstream media news that they actually texted, "A bird just went into our engine." Not sure if this is my last words or not. Interesting here. How come in 2024, almost 2025, we don't have anything? Is there not like a net you can put over those turbines? I mean, listen, I'm not an engineer and I'm not an aircraft mechanic, so it's probably stupid of me to ask. Some engineers like, are you fucking, it would mess up the whole blah, 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 the plane. I mean, but there's nothing is what I'm saying. Nothing. Do we not have like some kind of like subsonic bell? Those whistles they put on the front of a motorcycle that allegedly scare deer away so you don't smack a deer. Like, we don't have something like that we can put on airplanes. We don't have some kind of thing that just like, like they got those like those things that the divers can use that like put out pulses to get sharks away. We don't have something like that for birds in 2024. Nothing. Nobody's come up with anything to scare birds from flying into a plane engine in 24. One of my favorite movies of all time is The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. Great movie, but that's how they all go down. Fucking birds, man. I don't know. This is some crazy. Yeah, some chicken wire. Thanks, Bosco. Listen, hey, we'll redneck thing that out, though. Redneck engineering. Come on, get Bosco on it. You'll never have another plane bird crash again. Anyway. I don't know. I think this is a little bit strange. The birds. And then how about this? And again, I'm not trying to Monday morning quarterback an airplane pilot, but these are some questions that I have. Independent media questions. So a bird flies into your engine. You call for a mayday. You do a 180. It's not like it took them a couple of seconds to do 180. You got time if you're doing a 180 in an airplane. We're talking at least a minute. We'll say 45 seconds to do a complete 180 in a bird that big, a big Boeing that big. We couldn't get any landing gear down. Does a bird knock out your landing gear? I hate to do it. God, I hate to be that guy. I hate to be that guy that questions and acts like he knows something when he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. And I'm sure it is. I'm sure that there is something that causes you not to be able to get, but it sucks, right? It sucks that these birds flew into the engine on the wing and we couldn't get landing gear down. Is that crazy? Too much wind resistance with chicken wire. And also if a bird hits it at 600 miles an hour, that wire is going right into the engine. Damn it, Will Cray. Why do you have to be so smart? Maybe it's carbon fiber chicken wire. You ever thought about that? Carbon fiber chicken wire? I think my subsonic pulse was a better idea. Maybe we send out drones. Maybe when you're taking off, drones escort you through the air and they can detect birds. We're using drones for everything else right now. Fuck it. It's like a tugboat, but we call them tug drones. And they fly out in front of the aircraft. Dang. Or how about this? Maybe you just blast one of those bird guns. You know what they do in vineyards? To scare off all the birds? Gets all the birds to fuck off. Maybe every time a plane goes off, it's like a Tampa Bay Bucks football game. Boom! Fire off the can every time they score a touchdown. I don't know. Come on. C- at best, but I'm sure we can redneck rig this thing somehow. U.S. Navy pilots shot down over Red Sea in apparent friendly fire incident. U.S. military says going back to that. Dubai United Arab Emirates. 2 U.S. Navy pilots were shot down Sunday over the Red Sea. An apparent friendly fire incident, the U.S. military said, marking the most serious incident to threaten troops in over a year. Is this propaganda? You think we actually shot down one of our own? Is that feasible? Is that possible? Possible. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. I think it's crazy. I think before you make fun of Russia, if we're going to go on, we shot down one of our own fucking F-18s or millions of dollars of jets. You know what I'm saying? Will Cray says that Houthis or some organization shot the plane and they were covering it up. You'd feel like you got to. But, if that's the route you're going to take, then we can't make fun of the Russians because you can't take credit for shooting your own plane down and then make fun of the Russians for shooting down a plane or charge them with some kind of crazy war crime. All right, let's dive into the last story of the night. TikTok ban supposed to come January 19th. Now, Donald Trump has sent this up to the Supreme Court saying, we need more time to think about this. Interesting. Because one of Trump's bigger backings came from social media. And for one of the last few places that you can tell the truth and have independent journalism, whether it be good, great, mediocre at best, TikTok is one of the last free places you can actually go to find out all sorts of crazy wazoo shit. You want to learn about the Anunnaki? TikTok's got a bunch of crazy videos. Not sure how fact checkable they are, but go for it. I love deep diving down the TikTok rabbit holes. But where's our First Amendment rights come into effect here? They're saying that they don't want to give China our information, the same China that we blame spy balloons coming over, the same China that's hacking. What did China just hack today? They just hacked something today. It wasn't TikTok. Let me Google it real quick. I wish I forgot that I don't have a Chinese hacking. This was another big story. The U.S. Treasury says Chinese hackers stole documents in major incident. That's 20 minutes ago. Chinese hackers infiltrate the U.S. Treasury system. Oh, no big deal. No big deal. Chinese just infiltrated the U.S. Treasury. No big deal. Ninth Telecom's firm has been hit by a massive Chinese espionage campaign. No big deal. but we're going to get rid of TikTok because China might get your information. China knows everything about you. You think God's watching and judging you on what kind of porn you're watching, what kind of disgusting, fucked up shit you're looking up on Reddit and Twitter and X porn and red porns and all the other porn sites that you're looking at? I don't know of any because I don't look at that schmut. But you think that God cares as much as China cares? China is going to the payday. God just sees it as like, oh, you sinful little weasel. Oh, boy. We're going to talk about this when you get up here. But China's taking all that porn information, all your little information, what you like, what you don't like, all your little kinks. It's got your little video camera on, finding out what's in your room, what part of the house you're in, what kind of shit you're buying right after you jerk off, infiltrating all you think Facebook, you think Zuckerberg, I just said porn and gay porn. I'll say like gay porn, gay porn, gay porn, gay porn, gay porn. If your phone is near you, you're going to start getting gay porn ads. Congratulations. You know what I'm saying? We're worried about China. When if I say dog food 16 times right now, or if I say pig Latin, a seriously funny true story, pig Latin, a seriously funny true story, pig Latin, a seriously funny true story, that's not going to pop up in your Amazon account. Had I bought an ad, maybe it would, but I haven't bought ads yet. But anyway, I don't buy it, and I don't think anybody else buys it. I think we have a real First Amendment problem here, and Theo Von's theory is my favorite. Theo Von says it's because TikTok is the only real place that they're exposing genocide in Palestine. Now, I said this at the beginning of the show. Why is it so crazy that such a small place like Israel is so fucking underrated that you can't have any opinion or you're anti-Jew? Matter of fact, it's so funny because Jimmy Carter passed away, and one of Jimmy Carter's biggest things he said was, and listen, Jimmy Carter was one of the most hated presidents of all time too. He wasn't very loved. He wasn't like one of the worst presidents. He was too nice, whatever. Like nobody has a lot of good things to say about Jimmy Carter, but I'll tell you this, Jimmy Carter sold all of his regular belongings and his businesses so that he could never be accused while he was president of prospering from being president. He also lived and died in the same small little farm home that he lived in before he was president and after he became president. He lived a very humble, moderate life. And his opinion was that if you were in Congress and you had any opinions against Israel back then, you would no longer be able to stay in Congress. Wow, that's crazy, right? Listen, I'm not trying to burn myself or bury myself as like anti-Jew. I just say I think it's a little bit crazy that we can't do it. That's why I like Theo Von at least bringing it up. We'll see what the consequences are. You can't talk about that. Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was a Mossad spy. And we still don't have any questions on the Epstein list and Epstein's ties to Israel or anybody else's ties to Israel. It's crazy that we can't do that without being like anti-whatever, but if you start questioning the narrative of what's going on in Israel and Palestine, listen, none of that. You think that's what God wanted? You think God wanted you to destroy the last surviving hospital in Palestine? I mean, maybe. Probably not, though. You're not going to put ground forces in there. Instead, you're just going to bomb it no matter what the civilian status or populace is. But you can't question that without being taken off of YouTube or out without some kind of punitive response. Again, I'm not even trying to pick sides here. I'm just raising the questions of why. Why is it that, why does Israel have so much of an impact on the rest of the world? Is it just because it's God's kingdom? That's where God wanted? Was this all to be at war and turmoil over that area of land? And that many innocent people have to die over that? I mean, it goes back to being like how crazy the Crusades are. We're still fucking doing it. Anyway. Yeah, 100 years, rest in peace, JC. Not Jesus Christ, but Jimmy Carter. He a lot of funny things in the chats. Guys, it's been a great night tonight. I got some gay ads today, and it's so fucking weird. I blame Eric. You should blame me. We saw the fish, Eric. Yeah, hey, listen, it was a girl fish, by the way, on my Instagrams. If you guys want to follow me, Eric Tanzi Official, shout it out, or follow Fox Media on Instagram too. Let's grow this show in 2025. I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's Eve tomorrow. Be safe. Don't add to this world. Don't take away from this world tomorrow night. Let's just keep it fun, flirty, but safe, if that makes sense. And I am glad. I will be happy to podcast with you guys in the new year. I'll see you Friday on the Failure to Stop podcast show, unless some crazy breaking news happens between now and then. Going to take Wednesday off. because it's New Year's Day and everybody will be off. Until then, guys, guns up, giddy up. Thanks for listening tonight. G.I. Joe says it the best. Maybe you didn't know about the next pandemic or the multiple flight crashes and military-related plane crashes, but now you do know, and knowing is half the battle. Good nights. Love you guys. See y'all Friday. Failure stop.